Wonder. Ordinary. I know I'm not an ordinary 10-year-old kid. I mean, sure, I do ordinary things. I eat ice cream. I ride my bike. I play ball. I have an Xbox. Stuff like that makes me ordinary, I guess. And I feel ordinary on the inside. But I know ordinary kids don't make other kids run away screaming in the playground. I know ordinary kids don't get stared at wherever they go. If I found a magic lamp and I could have just one wish, I would wish that I would have a normal face and that no one would ever notice at all. I wish that I could walk down the street without people seeing me and then doing that look away thing. Here's what I think. The only reason I'm not ordinary is that no one else sees me that way. But I'm kind of used to it now. How I look now. I know how to pretend I don't see the faces people make. We've all gotten pretty good at it, that sort of thing. Mom and Dad, Via. Actually, I take that back. Via's not so good at it. She can get really annoyed when people do something rude. Like, for instance, one time on the playground, some older kids made some noises. I don't even know what the noises were exactly because I didn't hear them. But Via heard them, and she started yelling at the kids. That's the way she was. I'm not that way. Via doesn't see me as ordinary. She says she does. But if I were ordinary, she wouldn't feel like she needs to protect me as much. And Mom and Dad, they don't see me as ordinary either. They see me as extraordinary. I think the only person in the world that realizes how ordinary I am is me. My name is August, by the way. I won't describe what I look like. Whatever you're thinking, it's probably worse. Why I didn't go to school. Next week, I will start 5th grade. Since I have been able to read before school, I am pretty much totally and completely petrified. People think I haven't gone to school because of the way I look. But that's not it. It's because all of the surgeries I've had, 27 since I was born, the bigger ones happened before I was even 4 years old. So I don't remember those. But I've had 2 or 3 surgeries every year since then. Some big ones, some small. And because I'm little for my age, and I have some other medical mysteries the doctors have never really figured out, I used to get sick a lot. That's why my parents decided it was better that if I didn't go to school. I'm much stronger now, though. The last surgery I had was 8 months ago. I probably won't have to have another one for a couple years. My mom homeschools me. She used the children's book, and she used to be a children's book illustrator. She draws really great fairies and mermaids. Her boy stuff isn't too hot, though. She once tried to draw me Darth Vader, but it ended up looking like some weird mushroom-shaped robot. I haven't seen her draw something for a very long time. I think she's too busy taking care of me and Via. I can't say that I always wanted to go to school because that wouldn't be exactly true. What I wanted was to go to school, but only if I could be like every other kid going to school. Have lots of friends, hang out after school and stuff like that. I have a few really good friends now. Christopher is my best friend, followed by Zachary and Alex. We've known each other since we were babies. And since they've always known me the way I am, they're used to me. When we were little, we used to have play dates all the time. But Christopher moved to Bridgeport in Connecticut. That's more than an hour away from where I live in North River Heights, which is at the tip of Manhattan. And Zachary and Alex, well, they started going to school. It's funny. Even though Christopher's the one who moved far away, I see him more than I see Zachary and Alex. They all have these new friends now. And if we bump into each other on the street, they're still nice to me, though. They always say hello. I have other friends, too, but not as good as Christopher, Zach, and Alex. For instance, Zach and Alex always have invited me to their birthday parties when we were little. But Joel and Iman and Gabe never did. Emma invited me once, but I haven't seen her in a long time. And, of course, I always go to Christopher's birthday. Maybe I'm making too big of a deal about birthday parties. How I came to life. I like when my mom tells a story because it makes me laugh so much. It's not funny in the way a funny joke is, but when mom tells it, Via and I just start cracking up. So when I was in my mom's stomach, no one had any idea I would come out looking the way I look. Mom said Via's 4 years before and had been such a walk in the park, as mom's expression, that there was no reason to run any special tests. About 2 months before I was born, the doctors realized there was something wrong with my face, but they didn't think it was going to be too bad. They told Mom and Dad I had a cleft palate and some other stuff going on. They called it small anomalies. There were 2 nurses in the delivery room the night I was born. One was very nice and sweet. The other one, Mom said, did not seem to be nice and sweet at all. She had very big arms, and here's the funny part. She kept farting. Like she'd bring Mom some ice chips and then fart. She'd check Mom's blood pressure and then fart. Mom says it was unbelievable because the nurse never even said, "Excuse me." Meanwhile, Mom's regular doctor wasn't on duty that night. So Mom got stuck with the cranky kid doctor she and Dad nicknamed Doogie after some old TV show or something. They didn't actually call him that to his face, though. But Mom says that even though everyone in the room was kind of grumpy, Dad kept making her laugh all night long. When I came out of my mom's stomach, she said the whole room got very quiet. Mom didn't even get a chance to look at me because the nice nurse immediately rushed me out of the room. Dad was in such a hurry to follow her that he had dropped the video camera, which broke into a million pieces. And then Mom got very upset and tried to get out of bed to see where they were going, but the farting nurse put her very big arms on Mom to keep her down in bed. They were practically fighting. Mom was hysterical, and the farting nurse was yelling at her to stay calm. And then they both started screaming for the doctor. But guess what? He had fainted right on the floor. So when the farting nurse saw that he had fainted, she started pushing him with her foot to get him to wake up, yelling at him the whole time. "What kind of doctor are you? What kind of doctor are you? Get up! Get up!" And then all of a sudden, she let out the biggest, loudest, smelliest fart in the history of farts. Mom think it was actually the fart that finally woke up the doctor. Anyway, Mom tells the story. She acts out all the parts, including the farting noises, and it's so funny. Mom says the farting nurse turned out to be a very nice woman. She stayed with Mom the whole time, didn't leave her side, even after Dad came back and the doctors told her how sick I was. Mom remembers exactly what the nurse whispered in her ear when the doctor told her. I probably wouldn't live through the night. "Everyone's born of God, overcometh the world," she said. And the next day after, I had lived through the night, and it was that nurse that held Mom's hand when they brought her to meet me for the first time. Mom said that they had told her about me. She had been preparing herself to see me, but she says when she looked down in my tiny little munched up face from the first time, all she could see was how pretty my eyes were. Mom is beautiful, by the way, and Dad is handsome. Via is pretty, in case you were wondering. Christopher's house. I was really bummed when Christopher moved away 3 years ago. We were both around 7 then. We used to spend hours playing Star Wars action figures and dueling it out with our lightsabers. I miss that. Last spring we drove to Christopher's house in Bridgeport. Me and Christopher were looking at the snacks in the kitchen, and I heard Mom telling Lisa, Christopher's mom, about my going to school in the fall. I had never, ever heard her mention school before. "What are you talking about?" I said. Mom looked up surprised. She hadn't, for one, meant for me to hear that. "You should tell him what you've been thinking, Isabel," Dad said. He was on the other side of the room talking to Christopher's dad. We should talk about this later," said Mom. "No, I want to know what you were talking about," I answered. "Don't you think you're ready for school, Augie?" Mom said. "No," I said. "I don't either," said Dad. "Then that's it. Case closed," I said, shrugging, and I sat on her lap like if I was a baby. "I just think you need to learn more than I can teach you," Mom said. "I mean, come on, Augie. You know how bad I am at fractions. What school? I said. I already felt like crying. Beecher Prep, right by us. Wow, that's a great school, Augie, said Lisa, patting my knee. Why not Via School? I asked. Oh, it's too big, Mom answered. I don't think that would be a good fit for you. I don't want to, I said. I admit it, I made my voice sound a little babyish. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do, Dad said, coming over, lifting me out of Mom's lap. He carried me over to sit on his lap on the other side of the sofa. We won't make you do anything you don't want to do. But it would be good for him, Nate, Mom said. Not if he doesn't want to go, answered Dad, looking at me. Not if he's not ready. I saw Mom look at Lisa, who reached over and squeezed my mom's hand. You guys will figure it out, she said to Mom. You always have. Let's just talk about it later, said Mom. I could tell she and Dad were going to have a fight about it. I wanted Dad to win the fight, though part of me knew Mom was right. And the truth is, she was terrible at fractions. Driving. It was a long drive home. I fell asleep in the back seat like I always do. And my head was on Via's lap and she was my pillow. A towel wrapped around the seatbelt so I wouldn't drool all over her. Via fell asleep too. Mom and Dad talked quietly about grown-up things I don't really care about. I don't know how long I was sleeping, but when I woke up, there was a full moon outside of the car window. It was purple, and we were driving highway full of cars, and then I heard Mom's and Dad talking about me. We can't keep protecting him, Mom whispered to Dad, who was driving. We can't just pretend he's going to wake up tomorrow and that it isn't going to be his reality, because it is, Nate. And we have to help him learn to deal with it. We can't just keep avoiding situations. So sending him off to middle school like a lamb to slaughter? Dad answered angrily. But I didn't even finish his sentence because he saw me in the mirror looking up. What's a lamb to slaughter? I asked sleepily. Go back to sleep, Augie, Dad said softly. Everyone will stare at me at school, I said, suddenly crying. Honey, Mom said as she turned around in the front seat and put her hand on my hand. You know if you don't want to do this, you don't have to. But we spoke to the principal there and told him about you, and he really wants to meet you. What did you tell him about me? How funny you are. How kind and smart you are. When we told him you read Dragon Rider when you were 6, he was like, wow, I'll have to meet this kid. Did you tell him anything else? I said. Mom smiled at me. Her smile kind of hugged me. I told him about all your surgeries and how brave you are, she said. So he knows what I look like? I asked. Well, we brought pictures from last summer from Montauk, Dad said. We showed him pictures of the whole family and that great shot of you holding your flounder on the boat. You were there too, I have to admit. I felt a little disappointed that he was part of this too. We both talked to him, yes, Dad said. He's a really nice man. You would like him, Mom added. Suddenly I felt as if they were on the same side. Wait, so when did you meet him? I said. He took us on a tour of the school last year, said Mom. Last year? I said. So you've been thinking about this for a whole year and you didn't tell me? Well, we didn't know if you'd ever even get in, Augie, answered Mom. It's a very hard school to get into, honey. There's a whole admission process. I didn't see the point of telling you and having you get all worked up about it unnecessarily. But you're right, Augie. We should have told you. And when we found out last month that you got in, said Dad. In hindsight, sighed Mom, yes, I guess we should have told you. Did the lady who came to the house that time have something to do with this, I said? The one that gave me the test? Yes, actually, said Mom, looking guiltily. Yeah, that was her. You told me it was an IQ test, I said. I know well that it was a white lie, she answered. It was a test. You needed to get into the school. And you did very, very well on it, by the way. So you lied, I said. Oh, white lie. Yeah, I'm sorry, she said, trying to smile, but it didn't smile back. She turned around in her seat and faced forward. "What is a lamb to slaughter?" I asked. Mom sighed and gave Dad a look. "I shouldn't have said that," Dad said, looking at me in the rearview mirror. "It's not true. Here's the thing. Mommy and I love you so much, and we want to protect you any way we can. It's just sometimes we want to do it in different ways." "I don't want to go to school," I answered, folding my arms. "It would be good for you, Augie," said Mom. "Maybe I'll go next year," I answered, looking out the window. "This year would be better, Augie," said Mom. "You know why. Because you'll be going into 5th grade, and that's the year for first middle school. For everyone, you won't be the only new kid." "I'll be the only new kid that looks like me," I answered. "I'm not going to say it won't be a big challenge for you because you know better than that," she answered. "But it'll be good for you, Augie. You'll make lots of friends, and you'll learn things you'd never learn from me." She turned in her seat again and looked at me. "When we took our tour, you know what they had? They had a science lab. They had a little baby chick that was just hatching out of an egg. It was so cute, Augie. It actually kind of reminded me of you when you were a little baby. With those big brown eyes, of course." I usually love it when my mom talks about me being a baby. Sometimes I want to curl up into a tiny ball and let them hug me and kiss me all over. I miss being a baby. I miss not knowing stuff. But I wasn't in the mood for that now. "I don't want to go to school," I said. "How about this? Can you meet Mr. Tushman before making up your mind?" Mom asked. "Mr. Tushman?" I said. "He's the principal," answered Mom. "Mr. Tushman," I repeated. "I know, right?" Dad answered, smiling and looking at me in the rearview mirror. "Can you believe that name, Augie? I mean, who on earth would ever agree to have a last name like Mr. Tushman?" I smiled even though I didn't want to and let them see me smile. Dad was the one person in the whole world who could make me laugh. No matter how much I didn't want to, Dad always made everyone laugh. "Augie, you should go to school just so you can hear his name over the loudspeaker," Dad said excitedly. "Can you imagine how funny that would be? Hello, hello, paging Mr. Tushman." He was using that fake high old lady voice. "Hi, Mr. Tushman. I see you running your little behind today. Did your car get rear-ended again? What a bum rap." I started laughing, not even because I thought he was being that funny, but because I wasn't in the mood to stay mad anymore. "It couldn't be worse, though," Dad continued, his normal voice. "Mommy and I had a professor in college called Miss Butt." Mom was laughing now, too. "Is that for real?" I said. "Yep. Roberta Butt," Mom answered, raising her hand as if to swear. "Bobby Butt. She had huge cheeks," Dad said. "Nate," said Mom. "What? She had big cheeks is all I'm saying." Mom laughed and shook her head at the same time. Hey, I know," said Dad excited. "Let's fix them up on a blind date. Can you imagine Miss Butt meeting Mr. Tushman? And Mr. Tushman here's Miss Butt. They could get married and have a bunch of little tushies." "Poor Mr. Tushman," answered Mom, shaking her head. "Augie hasn't even met him yet, Nate." "Who's Mr. Tushman?" Via said groggily. She had just woken up. "He's the principal of my new school," I answered. Paging Mr. Tushman. I would have been more nervous about the meeting with Mr. Tushman if I hadn't also been going to meet some kids from the new school, but I didn't know. So if anything, I was kind of giggly. I couldn't stop thinking about the jokes Dad had made about Tushman's name. So when me and Dad arrived at Beecher Prep for a few weeks before school started, I saw Mr. Tushman standing there, waiting at the entrance. I started giggling right away. He didn't look at all like I expected, though. I guess I thought he would have a huge butt, but he didn't. In fact, he was a pretty normal guy, tall and thin, old, but not really old. He seemed nice. He shook my mom's hand first. "Hi, Mr. Tushman. It's so nice to see you again," Mom said. "This is my son, August." Mr. Tushman looked right at me, and he smiled, and he nodded, and he put his hand out for me to shake. "Hi, August," he said totally normally. "It's a pleasure to meet you." tie, I mumbled, dropping my hand into his hand while I looked down at his feet. He was wearing red Adidas. So, he said, kneeling down in front of me so he could look at his sneakers, but I had to look at his face. Your mom and dad have told me a lot about you. Like, what have they told you? I asked. Sorry. Honey, you have to speak up, said Mom. Like what? I asked, trying not to mumble. I admit I have a bit of a bad habit of mumbling. Well, that you like to read, said Mr. Tushman, and that you're a great artist. He had blue eyes with white eyelashes. And you're into science, right? Uh-huh, I said, nodding. We have a couple great science electives at Beecher, he said. Maybe you can take one of them. Uh-huh, I said. I had no idea what elective was. So, are you ready to take a tour? You mean we're doing that now? I said. Did you think we were going to the movies? He answered, smiling, and he stood up. Well, you didn't tell me we were taking a tour, I said to Mom in my accusing voice. Augie, she started to say. It'll be fine, August, said Mr. Tushman, holding his hand out to me. I promise. I think he wanted me to take his hand, but I took Mom's instead. She smiled, stared, and started walking towards the entrance. Mommy gave my little hand a squeeze, though I noticed it was an I love you squeeze and an I'm sorry squeeze, both. The only school I'd ever been inside of before was Via's, but I went with Mom and Dad to watch Via sing in the spring concert and stuff like that. The school is very different. It was smaller and it smelled like a hospital.